Alrighty then, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cryptoverse with me, your host, Chris Coney. So the number one question I see being asked on YouTube in the last week is, has Bitcoin bottomed? So in this short Easter Monday edition of the Cryptoverse, I'm going to attempt to share with you an updated answer to this question from my humble point of view. So we'll do technical analysis in just a moment, but first, let's do 2 points of fundamental analysis. One serious, one less serious. So let's do the less serious one first. The first fundamental indicator that Bitcoin has bottomed is that I just sold my Nissan 370Z. So here it is getting washed just before I handed it over to the dealer. And the fact is that interest in crypto follows price almost exactly. That's a sad fact, but it's a fact nonetheless. So I'm talking about YouTube views, ad revenues, people signing up for online courses, all declined significantly since the start of 2018, and my business just doesn't have sufficient revenue to justify an expense like this car, so it had to go. So it was making this mission of boosting cryptocurrency adoption, making that mission sustainable, is far more important than any car, so that's why I did what I did. So now let me move on to the second fundamental analysis and deliver on that part of the title of this video that says, analysis suggests whales are accumulating. So here we go. This comes from a new report from Adamant Capital and our old friend Tour de Meester. Now, if you're a loyal subscriber of the Cryptoverse, this name, Tour de Meester, should be familiar to you. If not, I'd encourage you to tune in more consistently rather than just cherry picking episodes, based on their title, because I often establish threads in one episode that get developed in later episodes. So in terms of this latest report, though, this report is called Bitcoin in Heavy Accumulation and is dated April the 18th, 2019. So this is the latest report from Adamant Capital. Tour is back with another, what I would call, sophisticated piece of analysis, which spans 17 pages. So I'll leave you to dip into the detail of this report. You can do that yourself, but for now, let's extract the nuggets from the introduction, because this acts like a very good executive summary. So it says here, we pride ourselves in having published our 2012 and 2015 Bitcoin reports during what we perceived as periods of significant undervaluation. Each report was issued when Bitcoin was down by more than 80% from all-time highs, now at 75% below its 2017 all-time high. We believe the current bear market represents an exceptional opportunity for value investors. During this accumulation phase, we expect for Bitcoin to trade in a range of $3,000 to $6,500 until the new bull market permanently cements the Denarian cryptocurrency as a multi-trillion-dollar asset class. Denarian cryptocurrency, they mean 10-year-old cryptocurrency. That's what they mean by Denarian. Then it says, some highlights of this report. Blockchain analysis suggests Bitcoin whales are now accumulating. Significant parallels with the 2014-2015 bear market have emerged. Hodlers almost break even with an estimated aggregate loss of $3 billion. Recent volatility lows suggest retail apathy and the market bottoming. Demand shocks are still possible from exchange hacks, minor capitulation, and so on. And Bitcoin's secular bull market is supported by strong fundamentals. And then he signs off by saying, we thank you for all the feedback and support from other analysts in the industry. Of course, all errors remain our own. Tour de Meester. So that's pretty much the entirety of what I would call the executive summary. So accumulation means, consistent buying pressure in the market. And that's a signal that whomever is accumulating must think that we're at the bottom or near the bottom because they see prices as attractive, right? Now, I personally feel the same way, but I'm also sticking to the principle that there's always the possibility of being wrong, hence why I'm not deploying all of my capital in one go, right? No matter how confident I am in the analysis, I'm still not going to break that fundamental principle. So now let's go over to the charts to get some more insight on this. Across the board, most coins are consolidating right now over the last few days. This is the Bitcoin weekly chart. So I've been looking at this over the last few videos, haven't I? Bitcoin did give us a weekly close above the bear market downtrend line, which is the yellow one on my chart. But, key point, it does remain under its 50-week EMA, which is another big milestone for me. And on my chart, that's the red line, the red curved line. So volume is also declining on the weekly. You'll notice over the last 3 candles, there was a lot during the week when Bitcoin pumped a sudden $1,000 and it dropped the following week and the week after that. And now we've just started a new week. So that volume candle doesn't really mean anything right now. So that's the weekly volume declining, which basically shows a lack of confidence in prices higher than about 53.45 for the time being, because that is the level of my pink horizontal line where the volume started declining. When we ran up to it, everyone was confident, but when it got there, people were like, 50 EMA, $5,345, not sure that, Bitcoin's worth more than that. So the buyers have kind of stepped out for the time being to see what everyone else thinks. On the daily chart, though, we have Golden Cross approaching. Let's take a look at that. Let's zoom out a little bit here. So Golden Cross would be 50 EMA crossing 200 EMA, and the 50 is coming up hot right now. It's coming up, closing that gap. And generally, I would see a 50 EMA below a 200 EMA as a sign to look for short positions. Still technically by that measure in a bear market. But on the daily, we have this Golden Cross approaching, and that's good. But it still doesn't negate the fact that we're stuck under that 53.45 level, which is much more visible on the daily chart, right? From this, you see this high is above it, but everything else is stuck right under it. And the volatility of the candles over the last few days the ranges are quite tight, aren't they? On the plus side, we do have a new 90-day cycle high, which is this green arrow that I've put on the 10th of April. So that's a good sign. All I would want to see now, when we pull back, is the price staying above 42.35, which was the last 90-day cycle high with the other green candle here, which I've also drawn a green horizontal line there. It's by the Coinbase price feed, it's 42.35. So as long as we stay above that in this 3-month cycle, good sign, good sign. Preferably, I'd have the pullback come down to the 200 EMA, which right now is 47.10, but we shall see on that one. That's just my personal preference. My personal preferences have no bearing on the market, so that means nothing. Now, that bounce, if we bounced off either of those levels, the 42.35 or the 27.10, that's most likely when I will personally deploy another chunk of capital on Bitcoin in particular. I also really want to trade Ethereum right now, so let me just take a quick look at that. So yeah, I really want to trade Ethereum right now, but with this chart, I need to wait for Ethereum also to get above its 200 EMA on the daily chart. You see, we've sort of set somewhat of a lower high over the last couple of days, which is a bit bearish, which is why I don't fancy going long at this time. But from this perspective, you can see Ethereum's key support and resistance is 167-ish, which is what I've been talking about for a while. 167.32 is the level. We're actually above that right now, but we're sandwiched between the 200 EMA and that level. So that's why I'm like, the market doesn't really know which way it wants to go on Ethereum right now, so I'll just wait for the time being. The only other thing worth mentioning today is that I have a position in Raven coin right now. Let me show you that. It's against Bitcoin, so I'm accounting for this profit and loss in Bitcoin. So this position is basically going backwards and forwards from a 20% gain back to break even, up to a 10% gain back to break even, 20% gain back to break even. So that's kind of frustrating, but that's the kind of thing you have to deal with in trading. Overall, now looking at this on the daily chart, it's setting lower highs from this great run up. It's set a lower high there on the 7th of April. It's set another set of lower highs on the 19th and 20th of April. So I'm like, no. Maybe it might be wise to come out of this position for the time being and then make it, wait for it to decide what it wants to do. There is good support though. What's this level here? Why is that not showing? What's the level? I'll have to read it on the details here. So it's like 1,058 Satoshis is where the support seems to be. That may have even been when I got in, to be honest. So I can still come out at break even if I want to. So that's what I'm just saying. It might be wise to do that. So I've not really deployed any major capital in the last few weeks on any major coins. I've only done a couple of sells. One that I did on Binance token, which I didn't think was going to break its all-time high, which it didn't. It's now hit its all-time high of around $25 and is sort of stuck pulling back. Not sure what it wants to do now. We need an almighty amount of confidence or hype to push it through that. So maybe the hype has run out of steam here. The only other thing I sold the other day was some XRP because it's just dithering around too much. You know, look at this. It's just in this big old... It's under its... Well, my bearish downtrend line in yellow. And there's also this uptrend line over the last flipping... What is this? Well, it's quite since August. So gradually higher lows. But it's taking forever. It's taking forever. And its 50 EMA is still below its 200. So I'm like, all right, I'm coming out of that. I'm coming out of that for the time being until it decides which way it wants to go. Anyway, I have a clear distinction now between like crypto that I trade with, like to generate profits and income on a short-term basis, and then crypto that I buy and hold as an investment. So they're almost like separate pots of crypto to me. The goal of trading is to, accumulate more crypto as like an income generator, and then to take those gains and store some of them as long-term savings investments, right? It's funny that it's the same asset though. So you almost have to create a line between the two pots of money in your head because they're really the same. So the Bitcoin I'm trading with is, the currency I'm using to buy altcoins, but it's also the long-term buy and hold crypto that I've got for investments. So that's just a clean line that you need to make in your head to keep track of this stuff, But that is really all I've got for you today. So lots more to share, but not enough time. So I'll play out for today. Thanks very much for joining me. Hit the like button if you would be so kind. Subscribe if you're not already. And also, all of that stuff from the charts and whatnot, if you want to learn how to do that yourself and all the thinking behind it, a lot of that's in this course of mine called the Master Cryptocurrency Trader course, which will teach you chart analysis, trading strategies, and all the stuff that, or most of the stuff that I use to come to the conclusions I come to when I do the chart analysis. Also, on the website, thecryptoverse.show, if you want to become a supporter, I would appreciate it. And also you get a whole bunch of benefits by doing that, beyond just getting the content you've already consumed. You can also get rid of the ads by being a supporter, get access to the private chat group so we can have private chats. And I often put my trade calls in there, things like that. And also you get cryptocurrency rewards for being a supporter as well. So you do get some big additional benefits for being a supporter beyond just giving me money for content I've already created. So that's that. Thanks to all of my 74 patrons that are making this possible. Actually, new patron from the other day, Radek, Jarek, difficult names to pronounce. Jarecki, I think his name is. Radek Jarecki. Because I'm English, I have difficulty pronouncing foreign names, but gratitude nonetheless to you, Radek. Thank you very much for being the latest supporter of the Cryptoverse and helping me to boost cryptocurrency adoption. That's all for today. I'll be back with the next episode of the Cryptoverse. So until then, it's me, Chris Coney, saying bye for now.